Okay, now the other couple of checks that you can do once the saddle is on the horse. So you're already used to finding the top of that shoulder. Okay, so again you start your hand down and you can see there through this point here that Fanta's shoulder is just in behind there. Okay, so it's literally, grab my chalk, so literally just right in there. It's the top of it right there, runs around and down. Okay, so that's clear. So what's going to happen is when the rider's in the saddle, is that shoulder is actually going to block the saddle from moving any further forward. That's really important, particularly with dressage, that the horse can actually move this great big shoulder. Right, so it's vital so the horse can actually stretch forward. If you've got a saddle that's much too forward and sitting on this shoulder, and then you've got your legs wrapped around it, you're blocking the horse's movement. So what I'm going to do, so a really good test, so I can just show this. You get Fanta to lift his leg up, and just pick it up, and you can see there, you can see his whole shoulder moving. You can see this saddle isn't blocking that great big shoulder, so he can actually stretch forward without having compression on his shoulder. Right, that's vital. So really look for that, and particularly with your dressage saddles. So hopefully you can even start improving your scores by just simply allowing your horse to move. The next important point, so if you've got your horse's spine, you want the panels sitting off the spine, but you also want even contact outside that spine, so it's on the muscle. You want the saddle on the strongest parts of the horse. So what we do, so you can see where I'm standing here, I've got my right hand on the top of the saddle. I want you to simulate a little bit of rider weight. So you just want to press there, lift up, flat, hand under the skirt, and I want you to put your hand right up, and I'm sorry we can't film this, but I'm getting my hand right up just under here on the panel. Now I've got 2 or 3 fingers under the panel, and I'm going to slide my hand right along underneath that panel. Now this is the reason, easy up, this is the reason why, good boy. Right, so I'm going to, good boy, so we put a hand and we just slide it along. What I'm feeling for is unevenness. I want the weight that I'm putting down in the saddle to be even right the way along. So if it feels too tight or too loose, if it's too tight, generally that's a flocking issue. If it's too loose, that means that the saddle is sitting incorrectly. It could be the tree shape, or it could be that you've got the wrong size gullet in. The most common places that you'll get lift is right in the middle. We're talking about bridging before. Check the length of your saddle, and also check your gullet. Generally, if it's bridging, the gullet will be too narrow, so the saddle will be lifting up to here, will be sitting too high, and that'll cause unevenness through this middle. So that's what you're feeling for. Yeah, but this one's really well. The saddle fits him really well. I've got even contact right the way along, and you can tell in his dressage scores he's always in the top 3 whenever he goes out. The only way the horse can actually do that if he's got a really well fitting saddle. Most people know to check his wither in relation to the top of the pommel of the saddle. He's got quite a high wither. Generally, you look for about 3 fingers. Look here. He's pretty much bang on 3 fingers in that. So we know that the gullet is right in the saddle. But I'm just going to show you there. Your minimum is 2. 2.5 is good. 3 is ideal. If you've got 4, generally that means that your saddle gullet is too narrow. 5 is nowhere even close. So yeah, if you've got 4 fingers, generally go wider. 2 fingers is generally pretty marginal, but you definitely want to check it. Yeah, but they're the checks that we go through before we actually put a rider in the saddle. The final check that we do is that we gear the horse right up, we put a girth on, and then essentially we warm the horse up as you normally would, just however you do it, doesn't have to be in a specific way, and pop the horse into a trot. So if I'm out fitting a saddle, I'll have the rider in the saddle, and at a trot you can see lift, quite particularly because you're putting weight through this part of the saddle. That's where the rider weight's going. if there's going to be lift, you're going to see it best at a trot, because as the rider comes up, if there's going to be any lift, the saddle will go up that way, and if you're going to see lift, it'll flop around like that. This one doesn't, we know it doesn't, but that as a check you can see. So you'll need to do it with two people, but make sure you've got a good hand width in here. Warm your horse up, hop it into a trot, and get someone to see if the back of the saddle is lifting. If it is lifting, it's generally a bad sign. Again, go back through the checks right from the start, check your gullet, check your panels, and just go through all the checklists. It could just be that you just have a saddle that just doesn't fit.